Well, good day everyone, and welcome to another segment of Fly Fishing Pass It On. Today we're going to talk about northern pike, known as water wolves of the north. They pretty much inhabit the northern hemisphere of Europe and Canada and US. These pike can get large, an average size of a better fish are probably 4 foot, about 30 pounds. There'll be a little, you can get bigger ones than that, and also much smaller. That is kind of the target fish we're looking for. These northern pike, they prefer shallow areas, shallow water with lots of vegetation, lots of food source in there. And they're primarily ambush feeders. They like to focus mostly on fish. Bait fish is their primary food source, being whitefish or perch. There'll also be a lot of topwater action. There'll be frogs and mice and even ducks. They'll pretty much eat anything they can get their head around. We've seen pike with fish about half their size in their throat. They'll eat a big meal. These pike have a great sensory system, very susceptible to locating their prey. They basically wait for the prey to come to them instead of hunting them down like a lot of very voracious fish do. These fish do get quite aggressive, like I said. In prime time would be early spring when the water temperature just hits the 60 degrees. That is pre-spawn or post-spawn, I should say. And those fish are going to be really in the shallow, warm water. Now, when you're going to a lake or want to locate these fish, get a map of the lake, or you can go to Google Maps or whatever and see basically where all the bays are. If you can get a bathymetry map where the depth is shown even better, and you want to be down on the downwind side. That's the water that's going to warm up first, and that's where those fish are going to be. So that's prime pike season right there for you with a fly rod. They will go a little deeper later on. They'll go to drop-offs and so forth, but they are, just remember, they are predators. And you want to get in real tight with your flies to catch these fish. They don't move a lot. They can be very stationary. They'll pass up a fly the odd time before they maybe even grab one. So don't be. You might not see them, and you're not going to sight fish them like you will in salt waters per se. So one of the main things that we look for on fly fishing for pike is we need a big chunk of meat. They're very voracious. So we need big flies, and I've seen pike flies like even 12-inch game changers, big hollow tie bucktails and so forth that guys are throwing for pike, and they work fine. They sure do. I have nothing against any of those flies at all. The only thing is those flies are going to be very, very difficult to cast because we're dealing, as you know, with wind resistance, not the weight of the fly. So they can be nice and light, but it's always, we're worrying about casting in the wind. So it'd be like throwing a small bird at them. It's hard. So I try to get my fly patterns down a little bit tidier than that. I found that it doesn't take huge flies to catch huge fish. We've caught some with, here's like little Lefty's Deceiver, red and black one. You can go to chartreuse. Is a really good color for pike too. There's a smaller fly. Here's a fly that's worked very well. It's only on a size 1/0. It's just a little white fly with a little chartreuse on the top, little feather tail on it, double marabou collar on there with little eyes, and that fly has caught a lot of pike. The streamers that I like, the ones I type myself that I use a lot, here's a whitefish imitation here. That whitefish is a primary food source for them, so I tie the Brent's bait fish. They've got a nice profile. I always like a little bit of bulk at the head of my flies because they push water, and those pike are very susceptible to the pressure, and be another trigger point for those fish as well. And these are very light and easy to throw. So, and here's a perch, the same pattern basically in a perch color, and you can go into some nice bucktails of all colors, and those are pretty easy to throw as well. With a 8-weight rod will get you those flies you can throw with an 8-weight easily. And I'll use a 10 weight most of the time. 8s or 10s usually what I fish for pike. And here's a Delbert diver white fly here that Larry Delbert did when he was doing the show, The Hunt for Big Fish. It was one of the first TV shows I ever watched, and for pike for sure. And Larry Delbert caught a lot of big fish with that fly. I use that one in chartreuse a lot. And here's an Umpqua fly. The green screen might block this out, but it's really nice. I'll put a shot of that in there for you as well, because probably the green screen will kill this coloration. But it's a pike fly from Umpqua, and it's my go-to. It's got a weed guard on there. That's something else you might want to consider, because these fish are going to be really tight in the vegetation. So you want to get flies in through all the weeds and so forth. That's where they're at. They're not going to be out in open waters per se. The top water flies that are the best, I use gurglers. You're going to see some of those on my YouTube channel. I've got some pike flies on there. You can have a look at some of what I use. There's also, like say, the game changer type flies. Those are really good flies too. You don't have to tie them super long. You can compress them down even to 6-inch fly is a really nice size for game changer. I would use that definitely. So the rods we mentioned are 8 or 10 weight rods. You can go up to 12 weights if you're throwing those big long flies. And you'll want a real fast action rod, because you're going to get some good line speed. And what you're going to need to turn these big flies over in the wind, and even if it's not windy at all, you're going to need good turnover. So you're probably throwing maybe at most a 9-foot leader, maybe 7-foot leader, and they need to have a 40 or 80 pound monobite tippet on there. It works. Saltwater bite tippets will work, because these fish have real sharp teeth. They'll bite you off real quick on any other kind of a leader. And also a good choice is also wire leader tippet. Put about 12, 14, 16 inches of wire on the bottom of that. Of your regular leaders would be fine too, and just stop them from nipping you off of your fly line. So the fly line is probably the most crucial choice you're going to need to make on your equipment. I'd like to use the Airflow sniper lines. They've got a real big bug taper on the end. You can cast a long ways with them, and they'll turn a big fly over real easy. And so that would be one of my suggestions. Those are the lines I've been using for years. I've fished a lot of Airflow lines. They've been really good to me. The most crucial thing about fly fishing, period, doesn't matter what species you're chasing, is know how to fly cast. And especially with northern pike, like I say, you're going to have to make some longer casts. In many cases, you're going to be dealing with the wind a lot of time and big, heavy flies. So that's a combination of just, if you're just a poor caster, you're going to really struggle. And if you're an average caster, you're going to get by maybe, but really improve your casting. So learn to double haul your fly line. We'll show you on that. There's lots of different instructional videos online here that you can check. A lot of really good fly casting instructors. To do a double haul would be a good cast that you should know. And also another one that I want to demonstrate a little later when I get out with my action cameras is the Belgium loop cast, or Lee Wolf, I think he called it the underhand cast, where instead of when you do a straight line cast like that, you're basically aerializing your line straight forward and back. As you know, a regular fly cast. Belgium loop cast, what you're doing is bringing it under, and it flips, the line doesn't go down, it actually flips up in the back. So it's a figure 8 basically thing, and that's a really good cast too. And I want to show you that one, because that is a really easy cast, and for anybody, you can catch onto that really quick, and you'll be into them really, really good. I think that would be a real good tip for you. When you hook up to one of these fish, and like I say, don't be afraid to keep throwing the work in the water a little bit, because they might make a move and maybe they don't, or you don't see them or whatever. Just work the water hard, get in there tight, and keep pounding away at it. You will be rewarded. And these northern pike, like we call them water wolves, like to say it, they hammer the fly. They're very voracious. When they hit hard. So you want to make sure when you strip, don't do the trout set as we do, like with trout, or you always want to make sure you get a good strip set. You pull your rod back, cast it down, and just give a good pull, and a real solid pull. Set that fly into them. Now, that being said, is the retrieves. Some cases, you're going to have to vary your retrieves up. Each and every day is going to be a little bit different, like it is with any species. A lot of times you want to really rip it fast and be very erratic and make them chase, make them hunt. You know, just turn on that dark side of their brain and want them to eat this, what you're throwing at them, this chunk of meat. Be aggressive. And sometimes you want just little short strips, maybe just, and change it up. Whatever you can change direction is good. And a lot of times what these big lazy pike will do is they'll just follow you. They'll keep following your line and you'll see them, and they won't take, they'll just stay in behind about a foot, and they're not committing. They're really looking things over, and they don't like what they see. So what you need is to speed it up or change the direction. Like if they don't make a decision, they're gonna miss out on a meal. So if you can change the direction of your line, like you'll see that sometimes with the muskie shows, if you tune into those, that's a cousin to these northern pike, is a muskie. They're a tough, very tough adversary to get hooked up. They're very fussy. And what they'll do is a figure eight close to the boat, and those fish will follow them around maybe 2, 3, 4 times before they're actually lump onto your fly when they actually want to eat it. So be patient, don't pull the line out, cast it to them again. You're better off if you can change your direction a little bit. I had a brother-in-law that was one of the top muskie guides in Eagle Lake, Ontario, and those guys know their stuff. That's one of the hardest fish I think there is on the planet to catch. Fish of 1,000 casts, and it's not an exaggeration. I've never caught muskies or went fishing for muskies, but maybe someday I'll get out there and do it. Hope that'll really help you out. Want to make sure you have some good equipment with you, get some good pliers to pinch your barbs down. Make sure you're wearing glasses, you don't stick a big fly in you somewhere. You're going to have to pull it out. You're going to want some jaw spreaders to open these mouths up to get your flies out. You don't want to be sticking your hands down their throat. They will bite. When they see you, they'll lomp on your hand. And here's a good idea here. A friend of mine did this for me. These jaw spreaders have kind of sharp tips. So he took and put some of these big, I don't know what they are, some big glass balls on here, plastic of some sort, so it wouldn't injure the fish. So that was a really good idea. I'm glad Steve did that for me. And it's very, very handy. And also remember, if you're gonna eat some fish, don't eat these big breeders. You know, those are the ones, these fish will live up to about 25 years, and keep the big breeders out there. They're usually the bigger fish are the females. And you know, if you're gonna want a fish fry or something like that, just, you know, maybe something like 5 or 8 pounds or something like that. A few of those would be all right for you. Here's some good needle nose pliers. You can reach down. They've got big, long mouths, so you want to get down there a little deeper. Also another kind of hook release here. You can follow it down and pop it right off. Usually it's right out of the mouth. That's one I use in Florida. I even use that for sharks. And another thing I have in my boat all the time for a lot of fishing is my gloves here. These are kind of a mesh glove that the butcher's shops will use, and that you can't cut them with a knife. So I like to use them for pike a lot because they're real slimy fish, so it just helps me get a hold of that tail a little bit without, you know, squirting out these. So that'd be some tips I've got for you on northern pike fishing. And there's some really good, lots of lodges up north that'll really look after you. They have got excellent guides and you know, good food and accommodations and everything else. Might be a trip that you want to consider. See some wild country up north, and even as you know, where I'm in southern Alberta, we have lots of reservoirs that have pike in them, and we have some good fishing opportunities here as well. So, you know, anywhere there's, like say in Europe, there's guys, we got viewers over there watching, you know, all about northern pike and so forth. So hope this will help you out, and wish you all the best on your journey fly fishing for northern pike. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again real soon.
Thanks for watching Brent's fly fishing instructional series. He can be found on Brent's YouTube channel and Sport Fishing on the Fly.